Hi everybody, Matt Lawton here, and this is the Astrological Winds channel, and I'm going to talk about the October astrological weather forecast today and just look at 4 or 5 of the bigger events that occur in October. And the first thing I wanted to mention is that if you've been following the blog for a while now, especially since the summer, I've been warning us that October was going to be like a very turning point or apex kind of month where like a lot of the intense energy that the three outer planets in Capricorn all this year, which have been causing or helping, I don't want to say causing, but have been the background energy of this year and the intensity of the energy as we watch a lot of the structure of society falling apart and our lives structures changing, transforming because of that. With Mars retrograde in Aries squaring those three planets 3 times over the period of this fall. And those middle squares, or the retrograde squares, are what is really the big part of October. So that's where we're really in the middle of all that stuff. And we had the second Mars-Saturn square right at the end of September. And so we're going to end up getting the second Mars-Pluto square, the second Mars-Jupiter square coming this month. So this is a month where, basically more than any other time, I would say we're really, all of us, our individual lives are just going to be like subject to the collective's fate together as a society. And so like it's going to continue to really affect our individual lives, what's going on in society. So it's going to be probably the most difficult month in a very difficult year, and definitely the most difficult quarter of a very difficult year too. So, it's hard to put a positive spin on a lot of it, but remember, it's a time of transformation. It's the time of a new age being born, or getting set up to be born. So, and there's going to be a lot of changes in a lot of the nations of the world. They will see a lot of the old ways of doing things will actually crumble apart and be replaced by new things over the next decade or so. So anyway, we're really, moving forward into that. And if you listen to the weekly of this week, the very first big event is this Sunday, and that was Pluto is going to be going direct to, which is the third of the 3 planets in Capricorn that are showing, really showing the weaknesses within the structure of society and within the structure of our lives, and forcing a transformation. We're, like, as I said, since Pluto's been in Capricorn, since it's now been 12, 13 years, we've really gotten to see like the ugly underbelly of like what Capricorn is in society. I mean, and Pluto basically having a lot more to do with society in general than the individual. So really getting to see how anything that's built into that hierarchical structuring that is the Capricorn model, how underneath that it may not be as strong as perceived, and that like those models that get stuck into a certain kind of structure have a hard time adjusting to changes and will resist that change and try to like consolidate its power and hold on and maintain the discipline and order and the law that's been going on. But like evolution is occurring, that's what Pluto's all about. So this transformation is going to occur whether we want it to or not. So Pluto going direct again will now start going direct for about 7 months. And remember, Pluto being such a slow moving planet, so like 7 months forward, 5 months backwards every year means it's like, 2 steps forward for evolution and 1 3/4 steps back. So it's baby steps, this big transformation, but you will see that being externalized more. So you will see those who are in power take more forceful chain things to do to try to control and keep that power, and those who are against, like those in power and trying to take that down and transform it, will become more externalized in their actions too. On the 9th of October is when we get the second hit of the Mars square the Pluto. So Pluto pretty stationary at that point, Mars retrograde. So when planets are stationary and retrograde, their energy is coming out a lot stronger. And that's why Mars is so bright in the sky now. It's actually going to get brighter than Jupiter this month. That blazing orange Mars that's coming up every night on the horizon around 9 o'clock and going right over us, and then in that square with Jupiter Saturn, which you can see that 90-degree angle right in the sky. So Mars is like, retrograde in Aries, Pluto stationary, just starting to go direct again, and it's the middle square. And Mars, Pluto is so much about just the anger and resentment of feeling stuck, of feeling that you want to change, you want to move forward to change, and that transformation is going on all around us, and that, there's power struggles breaking out all around us, and that all kinds of events are going on. And it really has a lot to do with pitting the individual against the group. So, it can really get you in, on a personal level, into intense situations with groups, and on a societal level, with individuals going against one another in groups, or individuals against the group. So it's a very, powder keg kind of aspect, and it really is like, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you can easily become a victim of violence, destruction. I mean, this square has a way of, like, anything that we have left as unfinished business can come back now to haunt us and trip us up and bring us down, and bring our own, literally, destruction of our own ends and goals. So it's a very, very intense energy, and there's a lot of energy available too. Like, there's really a strong drive when Mars and Pluto get together. There's strong motivation to move ahead, to move forward, however you define that. So, like, and it's like a really persistent energy too. Like, it's the energy of being able to climb the mountain, to endure, to get to the top, and do whatever it takes to get there. So people will act underhanded to do that. They will get in power struggles to do that, or they will confront themselves and their own issues, which is the best thing to do to get there too. But I mean, the drive and strength is there. So to top all this off, and this is what, to me is also going to be such a huge trigger this month, is that the Mercury is going retrograde too. And Mercury's in Scorpio, so all the Mercury retrogrades this year have been water signs. So this is our last one in Scorpio, and it's going to go retrograde at 12 degrees Scorpio and end up retrograding back to about 26 degrees Libra on November 4th, which is actually the day after Election Day in the United States. So the 3 weeks going up into Election Day, to Election Day, to the next day, Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio. So This is really interesting stuff, guys, because of where it is in the zodiac. 12 degrees Scorpio back to 26 degrees Libra. So, in astrology, there's an old concept that from 15 degrees Libra to about 15 degrees Scorpio is the most dangerous and dark part of the zodiac. And there's a lot of ancient reasoning behind this. And, this is for people really who are more into the why of astrology, and this is the kind of stuff that fascinates me personally. It's not only like, astrology working, but like how did they come up with the concept that, of different parts of astrology. Like when you look back, how did the ancient astrologers, after thousands of years of observations, come up with the conclusions that they came up with to define what different aspects between the planets meant? And so this 30 degrees of the zodiac has always been considered what they call the fiery path. It's called via combusta, and what they call the fiery path. And that when you're in that path, like, your life can get burned up, literally. And it's a lot of the theory behind it is, and this goes back to the people who think that there's 13 signs, which is, so silly. It shows you how misunderstood astrology is. The zodiac is a clock. It is not a map of constellations. It is a 360-degree circle that is divided into 12 equal 30-degree signs or parts. It is measuring time. It is not measuring space. The constellations were just lined up when they came up with the clock, with the Aries 0-degree point exactly on the day of the spring equinox. That is no longer true. And many times the argument by astronomers is that invalidates astrology, which just shows you that they do not understand astrology at all. Logos is time, it's not space. Star time. That's what astrology is, not star space. Anyway, so that means, and here's another proof of that, if the zodiac was based on constellations, none of the constellations are exactly 30 degrees, but the signs are. So once again, it makes no sense to think that a constellation is what each sign is. It's just part of the zodiac, part of a time space. So anyway, getting back to this, Scorpio is a big constellation. Bigger than 30 degrees. Close to 45 degrees. Libra is a small constellation. Only about 15, 16, 17 degrees. So literally, the claws, or the beginning of Scorpio, starts more near 15 degrees Libra and spreads all the way to the end of Scorpio as far as space measurement. So what, if you can follow all that, what Scorpio represents in the zodiac is some of the deepest and darkest stuff of the psyche, the stuff that comes up from the subconscious mind, our fears, our inhibitions, and the stars that are in the claws of Scorpio, which are about at 15 degrees Libra, are two or three of the stars that are the most intense, malefic type stars. So when a planet is going through space and hits those claws, it looks like the claws of Scorpio grab that planet and pull it towards the middle of Scorpio, right into the mouth of the scorpion. Now, who would want to get eaten by a scorpion? So now you're starting to understand why the ancient astrologers saw this as a really heavy, intense part of the sky. It's full of Scorpio energy. And not only that, when the sun is in Libra, it is in what we call fall. It's exalted in Aries and in fall in Libra. And that means that it's basically in its weakest sign as far as the way it can function. And that's because Libra is all about the other. It's not about us. And the sun's all about us. So, like, the other is sublimated or subordinated, I should say, to the self is subordinated to the other when the sun is in Libra. So, from a traditional standpoint of saying the sun is the ego and it's us as an individual, Libra would be the sign that's farthest away from that. And so, once again, people's personal path, what they're doing, their journey in life, their sun, when it goes into that part of the sky, it is not able to act as well for itself. It is like subordinated to the acts of others. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And then the third thing is the full harvest moon, which is usually around the same time and in the same area of the sky. Most of the time over the years, when that full moon comes up, it's orange because the sun and moon are so equal in time, 12 hours a day at that point about. The moon reflects a lot of the sun orange. So, people have, for centuries have seen the sun coming up in this really like orange fiery glow, and once again take that as being like the path is burning, the fiery path. So I think we're in for a really big challenge with this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, because we're going to be at the whims of what's going on in society. And it will do all the normal Mercury retrograde stuff. If you're traveling then, you're probably going to get delays. There may be blockages. There may even be travel shutdowns. As far as trying to make decisions, I think what's going to happen with Mercury and Scorpio is people are going to clam up about their truth, really. They're going to keep it inside. They're going to keep it secret. So that's what's going to be where the communication will start to break down that Mercury retro usually brings. It will mainly be because people are going to be keeping a lot more stuff closer to their vest. They're not going to trust being able to say what they really want to say and put it out there. And so there will, once again, not a good time to make decisions. There'll be delays, there'll be misunderstandings, all those things. And then to top that off, when you think about Mercury and Scorpio on a societal level, it's all about propaganda and coercion and like secretive moves going on behind things. So this is all stuff like happening on a society level and going right up into our elections. So there's going to be a lot of really like mis and disinformation, propaganda, all that kind of stuff going on publicly in a big way too. So we're in for a real interesting time with 2 of the 3 personal planets retrograde at the same time. 2/3 of our lives are going to be moving backwards, and it's really relationships is going to be the one area once again where things will be functioning better. And remember, I've been saying that all year. Your local relationships, the people you are friends with, the people you meet every day, those are where you need to build and make positive changes. That's the key to this whole year. So by the 15th, the second Mars-Jupiter square kicks in. And remember, Jupiter being so weak this year is not able to give the help it normally does as a beneficial planet. And so when Mars-Jupiter gets together, this is kind of like impulsive actions, not well thought out, just kind of like poor judgments, imbalanced judgments, things that have a lot to do with ego glory. And, so we're going to hear a lot of pontificating by people going up into the election. We're going to hear it in between each other, trying to push values, trying to push judgments, and a lot of unthought out decisions and impulsive actions that can once again really mess you up and get you in a place where you're in a situation where there's just too much going on to keep it in control. And really the only thing to do with this energy is to try to slow it down, because the energy is high energy. It's going to be there no matter what. And you really need to think about what you're doing before you do it, or you can really mess yourself up with these three squares going on. And top it off with Mercury retrograde. You really need to slow down and think about what you're doing before you do it. All right, and then there's something else that's even really intense too. And when I saw this one, I was just like, gosh, this is just like really showing our collective karma. So the Pluto near the end of the month is going to be exactly quincunx the North Node. And so this has nothing really to do with an individual. This is all about a common karmic destiny that people are sharing as a society, as a civilization. And it means that we are all going to be forced to make some serious adjustments and to let go of a lot of the things that we're used to. And it has a lot to do with the individual not being able to actually do what they want to do because of what's going on in society. So we have like a collective destiny together that's pushing us down the road, and there's suffering usually involved on mass scales with this kind of energy. So it's almost like sharing a tragic destiny together. And I guess that's really the one shining thing about it, is that we are all sharing it together. You're not going to be in it alone. And that's, once again, to me, would make me think that you need to look around at the people around you. That North Node, which is quincunxing, is in Gemini. And as I've been saying all year, it's your local area and the local people around you that hold the key to your dharmic destiny right now. But individuals are not going to be feeling happy. We're going to all be feeling like our lives have been almost taken away from us, and that we can't do what we want to do because of what's going on around us. So it's a really intense month. Now we do have the third and final Jupiter-Neptune sextile going on this month too, which is nice because, like I said, all year long, that's been like kind of the one balm and the wounding going on, and it really is bringing collective spiritual groups together, people with similar values, similar ideals, and creating new opportunities to connect and do things. So that's really been something that's really, going on in the background, that's been really kind of been the saving grace. Now, the sad thing about it is, yes, it's the third hit and happening this month, but that means it's pretty much over too after this. It's going to start releasing Jupiter's moving further and further away from the sextile to Neptune. So as it moves faster, so we're going to lose even that the last couple months of the year as we go into the intensity of, in the United States, of whatever may happen post-election. And the energy post-election is not energy that's cooperative. It's very conflicting and alienating, and and dividing kind of energy that we're in store for post-election. So there's a lot of intense energy this month. It's hard to put a positive spin on it, because there's just so much going on. I mean, I just really feel like, the most important things is the local connections, there's a lot of energy that's going to be available, but like just using it, before deciding, like, going through things thoroughly and not getting impulsive, because it's going to be really easy to go off and be impulsive and make wrong decisions that'll mess you up. So that's like, two of the most important keys to trying to get through this energy. And there is a lot of energy available. So, what you're doing, if your intention is good, and, I'm not going to say it's an easy road, but like, there's a lot of persistence in that energy that really wants to break through and transform. So, like, just keep on it, and get the support from the people around you, support them, they support you, and you just keep pushing forward through it, because that energy is available. But we just can't get impulsive with it, because, the impulsive stuff is where you're going to find yourself at the wrong place at the wrong time and easily become a victim of whatever circumstances are going on, in society or in that area or with the people that you're with. So, just really kind of, try to keep an even or balanced head about what's going on this month. All right, until next week, where I'll do the weekly for next week, and I believe we are going to be getting that Mars-Pluto square is exact next week, so that energy is really going to peak next week. We may see some groups really going at it against each other. But until next week, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel. I am getting so busy right now with, like, a couple different projects. I don't have time to social media bomb people anymore and remind them of the blog. So it's very simple. Become a follower on the YouTube channel. Turn your notifications on so that you know that the blog has been posted, because I'm just not able to social media bomb hundreds of you guys. And, if we want to try to start an emailing list, like I said, my email is mattHue823@gmail.com. And if I get to about 20 people, maybe I'll start an email list. But in the meantime, that's also my email for any kind of readings you need. I know a lot of people are needing some help with directions these days. Also, there's going to be beginning astrology class starting. I think I have 3 students right now. If we get 1 or 2 more, we could even do it maybe live on some kind of conference call. Otherwise, I'll be setting it up on my redone website probably within a few weeks. And then it will be accessible for any time you want it. But if we can get 4 or 5 of us, we can have an interactive class. And just like a reading, an interactive class, you get a lot more out of than just me talking to you. So if you're interested in that, email me. If you're interested in any kind of reading, I do all kinds of readings, all kinds of astrology services. Once again, it's mattHue823@gmail.com. All right, until next week, this is Matt Lawton signing off. This is the Astrological Winds channel. And keep your head up. Make smart decisions.